So during our climate mixer soiree, we all sort of took on different roles of people around the world that have done a lot of work to bring awareness to climate change. A lot of them have created their own companies or have even sued their own government to try to really make a change and try to better the world for the next generation.
During the climate soiree, we were all given different cards of different young leaders just like us around mostly the United States and some Canada. And these leaders, they have a sense of bravery. They go around, they protest in front of politicians, in front of big companies, and in front of even own governments. And that's something that really inspired me through the soiree, saying that if they're my age and they're having that much bravery and taking on that giant step, I can definitely make a change to the world.
Yeah, does anyone remember names of people that they had? Yeah.
The name of my person was Deja Powell.
And you remember, you had a quote from them, right?
Oh yeah, her quote was, "People cannot solve an issue they do not know exists."
I had Tammy Ramos. She was from California, and she lived next or close to the third largest oil refinery. She didn't like that, so she actually sued the LA, I think it was LA City, for their oil drilling applications. And she even went against CIPA, which is the California Independent Petroleum Association. She won, with LA, she won that case, and CIPA tried to take her to the Supreme Court, and they didn't let it go through because they had no stand.
Yo me llamaba Daniel. Me enfocaba en gente de color y comida indígenas, y en la educación de STEM, en ciencias, tecnologías, arte, ingeniería, matemáticas, y en la educación de los jóvenes de la comunidad indígena.
So hers was Daniel, and he focused on
indigenous community and education of STEM, which it's for science, art, and math, and then for the youth.
Thanks.
My activist's name was Iris, and Iris started the youth climate strike in the US, which is a pretty big movement, and one of her she emphasized how climate change is especially affecting communities of color. And something I thought about is how it's a little daunting sometimes when I read about youth activists, because I'm always like, oh, well, I should be doing something really big, I should be making such a huge change. And then I thought about how it's not necessarily like these big changes, it's really amazing, but there are also a lot of small changes you can do in your life that aren't that hard and just take a little more effort and a little more to notice what's good for the environment. So I thought about how I can also, it's not like I can't do anything, I can also cut down on what I consume, use less plastic, walk more. So there's a lot of things that everyone can do. That was really inspiring.
I thought of it as like a conference meeting. I met so many young leaders around the world, or mostly like the United States and Canada, who have done so many inspiring movements in their community. And for example, I was Aisha Clark, who was going against a coal movement down in Oakland, I believe. And it was just really inspiring to me because she was able to confront the higher up, like, class people. For example, the I believe it was a governor, if I'm not wrong. And I feel like that inspired me because she was 16 and I'm 18. I feel like I'm able to do that. It's just that I just never thought of doing that.
Yeah.
Creo que mi nombre fue Hannah y ella se enfocaba en defender a la naturaleza del gobierno que quería destruirlo.
So the name of her activist is Hannah, and she was defending nature from government which wanted to destroy nature.
So my character was Deja Powell. I got the name tag still, and this was all of us dancing. And I liked what she was like. Her goal was to involve the youth as well, and especially youth of color. And I was saying I want to start leaving less trace, which is something I learned on this trip. And I want to encourage others to join me in preserving nature and involve youth and color.
Thanks for sharing.
My activist was named Lazar. He's from Montenegro. When he was 15, he built a ram pump to bring water to his village. And he raised money for solar panels to power 8 homes. And afterwards, I wrote about taking my little siblings, they're 6 and 8, just into the nature more so they can appreciate it.
My activist was Isha. She was from Oakland, California. She was trying to protest against a developer who was trying to make a coal mine in her low-income community of people of color, because there was a lot of people there with asthma. And she won an award, a recipient award, and her trying to teach other younger kids of color really made me think that I have the same power, because I'm a mentor for a bilingual STEM club back at an elementary school, and it made me think that I could also help out and teach younger kids of color to also think about the environment, and not just at their house but in the classroom too.
Well, thanks everyone for sharing those reflections that you had on your trip. I'm now curious, what did you learn about yourself that will make you a leader in finding climate change solutions in the future?
Leadership styles that I found within this trip that could help me with climate change is that I found out that my leadership style is really quiet but also observant, and I think observing the things around me is a really key tool to finding ways to help the community in ways that other people may not find. So I think with my observance of nature and the world around us, I think I can make an impact on my community.
I learned that I'm a quiet leader also, and that you don't really need to be super loud and all that to get your word out.
Gabby.
Okay. So something that I learned was that I'm more of a driver, which typically means I like to take a stance on something and I like to make a decision about something. And I feel like that could help me when I want to make a change near or around my community, because I feel like I can ask those hard questions, confront those people, try to make a change, but really make people acknowledge that what they're doing is more harmful than they think, and that just because something is convenient doesn't mean it's better. And so I feel like that's something that I could use on my way home.
I also learned that I'm more of an observant leader. I'm someone who likes to have facts before I decide on something, and I like to listen to others before I say anything else. So I feel like I could take that to my community and perhaps just let others know what's going on, perhaps do some research. There's a paper on stormwater on the salmon, and we got that out to people, and we did research on how the pollutants in the stormwater goes down the drain, and then it
Like stormwater.
and I learned a lot from that, and I feel like I could take those and this thing that I learned from this trip and create another one of those papers and pass it around to my community.
Was that through Youth for the Environment and People?
It was through Sailor Sea School.
Sailor Sea School, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.